Okay, we're doing a job for Erin today. He needed a vertical burner. We're going to call this one the Volcano. On second thoughts, I think I'm going to have to name this thing the Krakatoa. It is very dangerous to light this thing. You want to have it angled away from you, like bring a brick over there when you go to light it and angle it away from you when you're lighting it if you're not good at lighting this thing. I'm kind of paying attention to the wind, making sure it's not blowing in my face. It is pretty dangerous to light, especially if you already have it underneath some type of pan that you're heating up. Here in a couple of minutes we're going to watch this thing boil a pan of water. I'm just putting it through its paces. This is actually way after the test, about 5 hours later. We got some good sunlight that enabled us to observe the flame, or some good clouds I should say. And I'm running it on the highest settings here. This is obviously not an ideal setting that you would want to use for certain scenarios. That's a little bit too much power to be melting some lead, but you never know. Maybe you got a really big process, a really big lead tank. Maybe you're making a keel to a boat or something. So I wanted to see what this thing could do on its highest power settings. I do turn it down here in a second so we can observe some of its lower operating modes. And this thing's going to work perfect for melting down bullets, is basically where its home's going to be. It's going to go to, I believe, a firing range where they're going to be melting down a bunch of bullets. And this is some of the lower settings that it has. So it has a very high turn down ratio. When you're adjusting the power, you always want to add fuel first and then air. Fuel, then air, fuel, then air. You stage it up in stages. If you add air first, you risk being too lean and the flame will go out on you. But a very rich flame will just get bigger and lazier. It won't go out. Not too bad, not too bad. Alright guys, so I'm perceiving this thing to be a little bit dangerous to light. I have a fan directing some draft on me here to keep any escaping flames from getting me. We're going to do a little test with this burner by boiling a pan of water just to kind of see what it can do. It's a little low to the ground, but I'm not going to worry about that too much right here. We're going to really crank this thing up pretty good, see what it can do. Okay, to light the burner, we're going to use very low air and moderate fuel. Okay, I'm going to light this thing at an angle here. I think that'd be best. we're going to do a practice light. I'm going to set it up on its side again. We're going to go low air. A little bit of fuel. Okay, we're done with that test. That ought to melt a lot of lead. I can't tell you the process they're going to be doing. They haven't given me permission to do so. But there you go, Erin. The volcano, I think, is going to melt all the lead you need to be melting. The container you mentioned to me should be fine with this burner. Those were on some of the higher settings. There are lower settings you can set it at. I really wasn't interested in those because we can't see much, but when the sun goes down a little bit and we can observe the flame, we're going to do some testing without this water pan sitting here just to see how tall of a flame we can get and kind of observe the performance of the flame. So we'll be back in a couple of hours. Maybe we'll get some chemtrail shades or something. So far so good. Tilting the burner is going to be the way to go to light this. Do not attempt to light this unless you're an absolute pro with it vertical. I recommend you give it a little tilt like that, and then it's as safe as can be like that. Not too bad, not too bad. We're done.